Welcome to the Barbow Hunter Podcast with your hosts, Nate Bailey and Jerry Goins, where we celebrate the ancient paths of our Barbow ancestors, where hard work and woodsmanship outweigh advanced shooting devices, where we value those who've gone before us and welcome those yet to come. Join us as we share valuable insight about the Barbow Hunter's lifestyle. Hey guys, before we jump into this next podcast with Trent Fisher from Born and Raised Outdoors, I just thought I would explain a little bit to you because he's a compound guy and this is Barbow Hunter Podcast. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is that Trent Fisher shoots most of his bulls at 20 and under. So he has this method of calling and a method of getting in on animals that is going to be really beneficial. And all the Born and Raised guys, it's going to be really beneficial to the way that we hunt. So that's why I'm bringing these guys on. I want to be able to help us become successful here in the West during elk season with our trad bows. And so they got a lot of gems to share with us. So without further ado, let's listen to the next podcast with Trent Fisher. Welcome to another edition of Barbow Hunters Podcast, and today we have with us Trent Fisher from Born and Raised, my good buddy Trent Fisher. How you doing, Trent?
Good, man. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. We haven't been able to get our yearly hunt or fish or whatever in this year.
Oh, man. I know it. When it works for me, it doesn't work for you or vice versa. It's just the way it goes. But yeah, I'm glad we could jump on here before season, which is a week out. So it's just seems like this year just seems like it just flew by.
Yeah. Yeah. I sure appreciate you coming on here. I know how busy you are, and I know.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Spending that time. So
yeah, no, this is great. I really appreciate the opportunity, man.
But and it's been a crazy year, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, it's been a lot of things, a lot of new things this year that we're doing, and trying to just open up new doors and trying to kind of take the company in certain ways and try to help people out and just man, educate, entertain, and inspire as many people as we can. And it's just been a huge blessing. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I saw you guys got a new warehouse down. Now is that on the coast then? Yeah,
so that's in North Bend.
Right on.
So our old one was in Coos Bay, which they're kind of neighboring cities anyway.
Right.
Came up with a little more room, and actually it wasn't that much more money at all, and because we'd kind of outgrown our little 700 square foot little warehouse there. So now we have a spot that we can actually shoot like 20, almost 32 yards, I think, indoors. So yeah, it's a little bit longer of a drive to get there from my house, and especially for Cody, but we're for our warehouse manager Robin, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's just so far it's been a really, really good fit, and it's been nice, buddy, because I can take like everything that's inundated my barn. Goose decoys and oh my goodness, and our booth for Portland, all the sports shows, that we built. Yeah, It's always been at my barn here, and so I can actually free up that space and put it at that warehouse. So it's been, oh man, you have no idea. It feels like Disneyland out in my backyard again. I can actually breathe.
So do you have a place to boil some crabs over there and eat some barbecue and things like that too?
It's a little bit there. If we ever get into doing some kind of putting on some kind of an event or something, it would be a great place for it.
Right on.
And that might happen actually at some point down the road. I'm not sure, but yeah, really, really cool space. It's just over 5,000 square feet, so it's a pretty good sized space.
Cool.
Yeah.
So some of my listeners might not know quite who you are. Probably everybody does. But I was going to kind of get you on here because of the way that you call bulls and the way that you guys have called bulls over the years. You have most of the bulls that you've shot have probably been, within 30 yards, you think?
I would say just trying to think back right now. Yeah, I would say a high percentage of them. A lot of it, too, is because it's Roosevelt stuff, a lot of stuff. But no, the longest shot that I've ever taken on an elk out of anything that I've killed is 52 yards. And that was the first shot. I did shoot 52 yards, but short of that, I think my second longest is maybe right in that 33 yards, somewhere in there. Yeah, not very far.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, elk. If you're going to take up a trad bow, in my opinion, elk are probably the best thing to take it up on, just because
of the calling.
Close.
You mean because of the calling and the ability to get close?
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it does add a little bit of added stuff that you got to deal with. But yeah,
I would agree. Another element, it is another element, and you can, I think, look at that a couple different ways. Another element is like, okay, man, now it's something else I got to practice at, right? Now I got to practice calling, and I got to practice all this. Or you could look at it as like, okay, take that to our advantage and be like, okay, this is kind of a cheat code. This is a way we can get them instead of doing the setup on their trail or stalk them or whatever you want to do. We can actually call them and talk to them. Whereas like deer, you can do the rattling game a little bit. You can do a lot of that kind of stuff. But where I've been hunting deer, and I think maybe for you too, you're on a migratory thing. They're rutting, and you're pretty much at their mercy a little bit.
Yeah, even rattling. We do hunt some of the winter ground where they go to, but even then they don't rattle back. So it's like all of a sudden they're there, and with a trad bow, well, with any bow. The minute that they're there, it's like, okay, that's cool. I'm seeing a great big old buck in front of me, but there's nothing I can do about it.
I totally, no kidding.
At least with an elk, you kind of know they're coming, or you can kind of read them a little bit,
Correct. Yeah. You can definitely dial that in a lot more, and behavioral stuff. Definitely.
Cool. So I had Dirk on here last week. Do you know Dirk?
Cool.
Dirk Durham?
I do a little bit. Almost too much. It could be argued.
Anyhow, I was drilling him over like how to get close. We have a lot of guys that hunt probably with singles or doubles. They're not hunting in the bigger groups and stuff. And do you have any tips on how to get close, when you're bugling or cow calling or anything like that within, like, say, that 30 and under?
Yeah, so I think what helped us, honestly, is we grew up in Roosevelt country. And what I mean by that is we grew up in thick. It's more of a rainforest style country. It's steeper mountains, and not steeper mountains, but just thicker altogether with brush, and even your open stuff, you'll have big tall ferns. Sometimes they'll be clear up to your chest. The fern patches will. So I mean, it's just a little bit different terrain than anywhere else that we hunt, and I think it gives the Roosevelt elk that little bit of a level of secureness. So they're not as wary. Their senses. So when you're calling elk, what you're doing is you're fooling a different sense. So they have their eyes, and they can look at you, and you can get away with some movement sometimes.
Right.
The one that you can't is smell. Their sense of smell, if they smell you, it's over. It's done. And that's just what it is. So once you get that, you get your wind right, you can, and then hearing, right? It's the other sense. And you're trying to fool that sense more than anything to then make them to believe, obviously, that you're another elk. So, but with Roosevelts, though, a lot of times it seems like that they will come closer. And everybody asks, well, if you could hunt a Roosevelt or a Rocky, which would you rather bugle? I would rather bugle a Roosevelt any day of the week, anytime, any day, because it seems like Roosevelts are so much more territorial.
Right.
They're so much more, and not only that, even a small Roosevelt, like I've shot a few different bulls that were 4 points, and they were the herd bull. That was
right.
The herd bull, and they came in just like they were a giant 6x7,
right.
just screaming their heads off and trying to rip up everything they could in their path, and but Roosevelts have that demeanor to them that, hey, I don't care if I'm small, I'm still going to come in and I'm going to try my hardest to whip you. And so whereas Rockies, it seems totally different to me in my instances with Rocky Mountain elk. So we cut our teeth on the Roosevelt side of things, and so we were, with a combination of a super aggressive elk with nice, really tight terrain as far as maybe a little bit brushier. Maybe there's a lot of times that our longest shot is maybe 20 yards.
Yeah.
So they have to break that barrier in order to be in a shooting lane that you have. That being said, we've had a ton of them that you're 8 yards from them and you can see their feet or something like that, but you can't even see the animal. So you need to really pick where you take that standoff from, where you want to take that shot from. You need to really think about that, as you're calling to them and as you're getting closer, and the dance is getting a little bit heavier. But yeah, no, I think that's a lot of the reason is just the Roosevelt country. We have got them close just to cut our teeth on, and we try to roll that over into the Rocky Mountain elk as well. And a lot of that, can be on a good setup. Okay, a lot of times, yeah, you might have a 50-yard lane. Well, let's bump that up. Let's get in there another 20, 25 yards. To make this, if he comes to this point, you know what, I'll have a way closer shot.
Right.
And
right.
A lot of times you can do that and get away with that too as well with the Rocky Mountain elk as well. It's just a different animal.
Yeah.
They're still elk. We do the same exact thing. We don't do anything different calling wise. Nothing.
Right.
Between the two. So.
Right. Would you say that the Rockies might be a little bit more visual than the Roosevelts?
100%. Yeah, they want to see something. When they come in, they want to see something. They are always on the look, whereas Roosevelt almost rolls his eyes in the back of his head and just is like, yeah, I'm coming, doesn't matter what. Yeah, they want to have that other sense, the sense of sight, and that's why sometimes the decoy really helps, which we don't use hardly at all, which we should. And it's just sometimes they have to be fooled in order to cover that last 50, 40, 50 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, where we hunt the Rockies, we hunt them in eastern Oregon, and I don't know if they're different, say in Idaho or Wyoming or whatever, but it seems like there's always more than one bull around. And then the Roosevelts, for some reason, it seems like might be like a small bull and a big bull. And I mean, a 4-point would be a big bull and a small bull being a spike. So,
yep. Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree.
So it seems like, the Rocky Mountain elk are like, another bull over there bugling, big deal. Whereas the Roosevelts are like, what in the world? You're getting out of here now. Yes, totally, and I think that's normal, and that's what I've seen as well. As far as like the Rocky Mountains, they'll bugle back and forth to each other just to tell each other where each other's at. They know the bugle, and they know who that belongs to, and so even if it's across the canyon, they'll spout off, and then the other guy will spout off, and he'll be okay, yeah, he's over there, But Roosevelts, they're not that numerous, I don't think. So and so it's just, and the ground's so much tighter that that's why we say bugle every 50 yards, because you could be just over the hill in a pocket, and it's so dense that your bugle's only carrying 200 yards max. So that's why we say bugle way more often in the thicker country, just so it does get that carried just a little bit further. So. Definitely, I would totally agree with you. Yeah, and I went through a spell there when I was hunting with some guys that really were like, oh, bugling is over. These elk have learned that their bugling doesn't work, and it really messed me up for 6-7 years. Really? I didn't see near the elk that I was used to seeing. And
right.
A lot of it was because I started hunting on that western side of things, and the reality is they just don't hear as many because they're farther apart and there's a lot of vegetation to soak up those bugles.
Correct. Yeah. They're a little few and far between. I've been, one year we went 7 days of the season, 7 whole days straight without hearing a bugle.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough. I
think that's on one of your DVDs, wasn't it?
Yeah. Finally, that 7th day, we ended up killing the first bull that we heard, but it was just like there's times in Roosevelt hunting you feel like they don't exist.
Right.
There are those times, whereas Rocky Mountain hunting, you may hear them all day long, and you may never see one. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But you're hearing them. You still know that they're around. So it's just a different. But they're still elk. They're all they're still elk. Yeah. It's just a different style.
Yeah. So most of your guys' shots. So a lot of your shots. I'm not gonna say most, but a lot of your shots are a frontal shot when they come in because of that whole idea of how you're setting up, right?
Yeah, that's been a whole different thing. That's been a whole. I'm not going to say pioneered, but the frontal shot is a shot that honestly you've never heard of it really. I don't think about 4 years ago or 5 years
Right.
ago, and I was super reluctant about taking it. And I think about back to a lot of the situations that I've had that I could have shot that shot that didn't.
Yeah,
I
me
didn't
too.
Because, oh man, we've grown up watching.
Yeah.
Will Primos,
Right.
all the Truth
Right.
series and stuff like that, and bless their heart, but they are waiting for a perfect broadside shot that's within that 30 yards, which is awesome. I think
Right,
that's a
right.
great style
Sure.
of hunting to take on and everything.
Sure.
And so we never really even messed around with it. You don't ever want to mess around with wounding and possibly wounding an animal.
Of course.
That's not
Right.
what I'm saying. But we've never really entertained the idea of the different. You get into so many different things, the anatomy of the elk and what
Right.
what is actually doable. And anyway, and I shot a bull. I can't remember what it was, but when it was. But anyway, it was just. It went stem to stern right through the bull, and he ran. Maybe 20 yards, just fell over dead. There was more blood than I've ever seen, and it kind of got our minds thinking, wow. That's a great shot to take, especially in our terrain where they're coming in pretty much head on, and you don't always have that broadside opportunity. That being said, I don't ever get cocky with it. If that makes any sense. Yeah, I will only shoot that shot like 25 yards and less. You still need to hit like a small basketball,
Right.
a kid's basketball. Right. Those, it's still a good area, obviously, as far as that goes, as far as size wise. But yeah, it's just don't overdo it. And I hear people, 50 yards trying to take frontals and stuff, and there's so many things that can happen at 50 yards that I don't feel comfortable with it personally. But to each his own. I wouldn't say that to anybody else. But yeah, 25 yards and in, and man, it is super lethal, very lethal.
Yeah, if you can't hit a basketball at 25 yards, you probably shouldn't be hunting elk.
Correct. Longbow, trad bow, or compound.
Yeah. And sometimes, stuff happen. We're not talking about that. When something happens, like the elk takes a step the wrong direction, and that stuff always happens. But to consistently be able to hit a basketball at 25 yards is not really that hard, even for trad guys that are out there doing it. It's not really that hard. So.
No, and two, what I love about that frontal shot is the room for error is not huge, but the room for so a broadside shot. Let's say I take a broadside shot and he's facing to the left, and I shoot way right, and I gut shoot this elk.
Yeah,
right through the guts, and it's like that elk's probably going to die.
Yeah,
you're probably not going to find it.
Yeah,
and it is probably going to die 2 months down the road of infection.
Yeah,
that's a
hard death. Yep,
that is a tough death. Yep. A frontal shot, if I shoot a foot to the right or something of that nature, I'm going to maybe skim the elk, skim his front shoulder. He is not going to die from that. If I shoot low and I hit brisket down low, I'm not going to get any penetration. That elk's not going to die. So it's one of those shots that's pretty cool because it's either a done deal or there's a high possibility that the elk is not going to suffer a death from it. So I like those. I kind of like those odds, but you still always want to take the most ethical shot you can.
Yeah. So I've seen you talk about where to shoot that frontal at. And I think that's part of the problem too, is a lot of guys don't know where to shoot it, so they're shooting it way too low. I think they're hitting brisket a lot of times.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's higher. It's a lot higher than people think. It really is. You gotta the anatomy of an elk, and this is what I tell everybody is like when you're taking a shot, don't ever look where that shot is going to hit. Look where that shot is going to exit from the area that you're standing. And what I mean by that is draw that line. Draw a line through that, and I'm just talking about, let's say, broadside shot. Let's say a quartering on shot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I mean, you can take a quartering on shot as long as it's not too steep, obviously, so you get both lungs. But just think about where that arrow is going to exit. Just always think about that, and especially with the frontal shot. So you just like turn it out broadside and draw a line right down the center of the elk. As he's standing there broadside, and you take that line and come to the front of the chest on the elk, and you see where that line starts. It's way higher than you think it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's just it. It's like a lot of times I think people, like you say, they're going to shoot low and they're going to hit that brisket and they're not going to get any penetration, or it's going to, deflect off the bottom of their brisket or something of that nature. You may get good blood for, 50, 200 yards, maybe pretty decent blood. But if you don't get in that thoracic opening, if you don't get in that inside that cavity, you are not going to kill that thing.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
Which is better than if you did, if something did happen, then
sure, 100%, 100%, yeah,
cool.
Yeah. But I think that does, that then the horror story starts there. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to point out here, guys, if you guys don't know who Trent is and you haven't seen what he's done, how many bulls have you got, Trent?
I don't.
You don't know, do you?
I don't know.
I know it's a ton. It's a ton.
It's a few. Yeah. I've been very blessed, man. I've been super fortunate.
We're talking to a guy that's done a lot and seen a lot of different shots on, and not just your bulls, but the bulls that you've been around. So, I mean, you guys, because I know there's probably some going, oh my gosh, a frontal shot. But seriously, and the proof's in the pudding. If you guys want to see it, go over to the YouTube channel and check it out. I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, we've done quite a bit of it. So it's you never can say for sure on anything as far as but at the same time, we've experimented a lot of different things. So.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is you'll find out with these guys that the whole Born and Raised crew, when you guys get an elk down, you even start looking at the elk and understanding different ways that elk is the anatomy of it, and you've had a lot of elk down.
Yeah.
So you guys are very observant, is what I'm trying to say. You observe the things that and look forward. So
sure, and it's still. I mean, like I was saying before, it still took us a long time to actually execute that frontal shot. It took us a long time to just feel confident enough to take it. And so it's been a journey as far as that goes, and that's what's so cool about bow hunting.
Yeah, and if you guys need to see Trent in action, that one video, I can't remember what you guys call it on your YouTube channel. I think it's Trent shoots frontal at elk at 5 yards or something like that. That one that's up above the hill. Oh, Mid-Bugle. That's the
Mid-Bugle. Oh, yeah. That was in Colorado. That was a neat hunt, and that bull was straight up the hill. It was way steeper than it looked on camera, which it tends to be a lot of times. The camera doesn't really tell how steep the terrain is, but that bull was that was a 26-yard. That was the longest one I've ever taken, a 26-yard shot, and that bull went 15 yards, I think, and fell over. Yeah. It was pretty amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, that whole Colorado series is one of my favorite series still.
Yeah, that was a roller coaster, man.
Yeah, it was pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I want to ask you, Trent, because I don't think anybody's ever asked you before, is your first bull. Who were you with? How did it go down? Did you do it rifle hunting, or were you bow hunting, or
oh man,
you would remember?
Have to ask a guy that doesn't remember anything.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. This is great. So my first bull, honestly, I'd rifle hunted before. My dad taught us how to hunt. How we got into hunting. My dad, and my grandpa, and always went with them. When we were younger, and then Dad started us out rifle hunting. And he, because he was under the opinion, and as am I with my son Wyatt, is he wanted us to be successful. Right? It's very tough, like being successful right off the bat. And there's a lot of good youth hunts out there right now that the state offers. And so the rifle hunting, I mean, when you start getting game on the ground and you start shooting a deer or a kid's first, whatever, that's just part of it,
Yeah,
being successful. Correct. What I'm talking about is teaching them how to gut it out.
Yeah.
You know, just going up to the animal and observing how awesome it is to that animal gave its life.
Yeah.
And just going through that process with a kid is fairly heavy, man. It's a heavy deal, and to get out there, when you're 12 with a bow and arrow and call in a bull or get an elk is a huge feat, man.
Yeah.
It is a huge
It's hard
feat.
with a rifle at 12, man.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is.
Ask Gage.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So I was taught rifle hunting at a young age, but we still shot our bows all the time.
Yeah.
My dad, it's pretty cool. His story, he kind of pioneered. You should have him on the podcast, actually.
I would love to.
That.
I actually need to come over and just sit down with him.
Yeah, he'd do something just like this.
Yeah.
He'd love it. Yeah. But yeah, he kind of pioneered the archery hunting as far as not in the hunting realm, but archery shoots.
Right.
They used to cut out big things of cardboard and glue them all together and make a whole course out of it, and it was amazing. So I mean, yeah. So we were always deep into that growing up. And so I was always archery hunting, and then really took it on around that 16, 17-year-old when I kind of, had my freedom. I could drive, so I could go places. And, my first bull I shot in the Elliott State Forest.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I was with a buddy of mine. I was cutting trees in the afternoons and stuff outside of school at the time, and trying to make money. And anyway, my buddy called the bull in for me. His name's Rusty Osmond, actually, and he's a trad hunter, big time. He's accomplished a lot. Yeah, accomplished a lot with the trad bow. Huh. And anyway, he called the bull in for me, and I think it was 35 yards or something. It was a 5-point.
No way. That's of course.
Yeah, of course. And anyway, and I put a good shot. I put a good shot on it, and it ran clear to the bottom of this unit and died. And then it was a horrible rainstorm, horrible thunder, lightning. Yeah, it was one of those deals. But then I was there half the night trying to get him out. But it was a great hunt, and that was the first one. That's what sparked me kind of, along the journey of the archery deal. And it's just, when you're hunting them that time of year, the sounds and the magnitude of how big the animal is, it's pretty amazing. It just really is. It's totally different than deer hunting. Don't get me wrong. It's a whole different deal. And man, I just fell in love with it a long time ago. And then yeah, it's kind of led me to where I am. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah. No, nobody's really asked me that before.
Yeah.
So
well,
that was cool.
That like Gage and I are talking about this year, we're going to a place that my family's hunted for years, and that's where I shot my first elk, and Gage hasn't got an elk yet. And so we're able to take his uncle, and that's the first time he's able to take his uncle. So I don't even care. I want to see those two just, get after it and get an elk or whatever. Just being able to hunt with the family and those memories, you were talking about Wyatt, and you're talking about, wanting success for him right up front. And part of that is not just success right there and then and getting the animal and things like that, but it's also when you get back and your sister's eating the same elk that you brought to the table, and your mom, there's something special in that. That's a big deal.
There's a huge sense of pride.
Oh,
huge sense of pride. Yeah. No, you are totally correct on that. It's not just the harvest. It's not, the practice and everything paying off. It pays off for a whole year. You know what I mean?
Right. And it is. It's one of those things where I think that's where young people turn into adults. That's how they do it.
Yeah. No, it's a rite of passage a little bit.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that, I guess. Yeah. But I would totally agree. Yeah. It's amazing. So you're gonna have a blast, man, this season.
Oh yeah. I'm already. Well, so Kevin, which is my brother-in-law, he moved back to Oregon so he could kind of be around the family. He moved out of Oregon after the Navy, and he was over in Indianapolis and killed some huge whitetails. He's killed some monster whitetails, but he's never been really elk hunting before. So this is going to be I can't wait until he hears his first bugle. That's gonna
be so awesome.
Oh man, you know, you've been there. I've watched you watch the guys, and you're like, yeah, I'm sharing this with these guys.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be doing the same thing here this year. We hired 2 new cameramen this year, and they're both from, believe it or not, they're both from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's nuts. And neither one of them have heard an elk bugle.
Dude.
Yeah, neither one of them. Well, it was crazy. We flew Tyler out here for a working interview this steelhead season this last winter. And anyway, there was some elk on, you know, how you see them, the Roosevelts in the fields at times, you know. Well, that was the first elk that he'd seen.
Oh, dude.
He's 24 years old.
That's
and
awesome.
For us to think about that, it's weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's kinda
right.
like, what? You know, so he asked me the other day in the office, he goes, Trent, can I talk to you for a second? I said, yeah, sure. He goes, do you think I'm going to get riled up when I hear my first elk? I said, if you don't, you're fired.
Yeah, exactly. I still get riled up when I hear them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's going to be a really memorable, that's going to be part of my enjoyment, I guarantee, this year is just being able to experience that with them, you know, because it kind of, you know, you relive your first moments again.
Yeah.
So it's going to be so fun.
Oh, man. And you guys are going to put it all down on film this year, aren't you? Well, you do every year, but yeah.
We do, yeah. So we're going to go back to kind of the format of, we're just going to, so we did Land of the Free 1.0, and we did that, and then we did 2.0.
Right.
And we kind of shied away from the whole Land of the Free. We didn't want to do 3.0, 4.0. You know what I mean? Because that Land of the Free, it kind of took on its own aura, its own life, actually.
Right.
And there was like people that were just, you know, hey, you're the Land of the Free guys. We're like, what? What? No, we're born and raised. Yeah. So it was a different thing and kind of a little bit unrecognizable. But this year we're just, you know, we're going back to it. It's not going to be 4.0, 3.0. Right. It's not going to be any of that.
It's just Land of the Free.
Yeah, our elk seasons is Land of the Free. Anybody can do it. Get out there, try to, you know, maybe go try something that may be uncomfortable for you. And that's kind of what we're going to just that's what are going to be our elk seasons from now on. It's just, it's just another Land of the Free project. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah, you know, and what better year to have Land of the Free than 2020? I'm serious. This, you know, you don't know how much I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this year.
Oh man,
you guys, you know, elk, out of elk, back into elk, and just the ups and downs of everything. It speaks volumes to everybody that watches it, because it for one, it shows people that they could actually get out there and don't be too upset if you don't get into elk every day, because that's not reality, you know. And
it's not even close to reality.
Yeah, it's not, you know. I mean, I do like the good videos where, you know, it's cinematic and all that stuff, but that's not really real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have those 10 elk that are in that video. Probably took them 12 days to film, or 13 days to film.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a 30-minute thing, so it is a good thing to see that coming back. I really appreciate you guys doing the Land of the Free series. So
cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited about it. You'll get to see, you know, me every morning, my ugly mug, just getting up, going, okay, here we go again.
Well, I know you guys probably have some. Well, we can kind of move into that, I guess. I know you guys have some things that you probably aren't going to divulge, but is there some stuff that you are going to divulge, like where you're going or what plans you have as far as, are you guys going to start in Oregon or those kind of things?
Yeah, no, I'm an open book. I tell everybody where I'm going. If I see you there, I see you there. No, we're going to start out here in Oregon. Cody's taken off. He's got to start a hunt the very first day of September. So he's got he's got to head to Wyoming with the THP guys, with the hunting public. So,
okay.
Yeah, so he'll start off in Wyoming. They drew a really good tag in Wyoming, so he'll start off over there, and I'll stay here for about 4 days. 4 days or so. So I'll be here through the opening weekend with Trevor and Steve.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, and I'll do the Roosevelt thing for the opening weekend, and then I'll take off and I'll head to Colorado. I got to be to Colorado like the 2nd or 3rd. So I'll be headed there to meet up with a couple guys from his name's Justin Rackley is his name. He's known as Lake Fork Guy on the YouTube. Anyway, great guy. Seems like a really, really good guy. Reached out and
Cool.
Anyway, yeah. So I said, sure, I'll come. Let's help you out. See if we can't get his first bull. He's never ever killed an elk before. So.
Oh, right on. There you go. See,
bull, cow, we don't care.
Yep.
Whatever it is, if we can get a shot at it, we're going to definitely.
Yep.
So I'll be headed to Colorado and do that, and I'll be in Colorado about 3 days with him, and then Hushin actually is going to come and join us in Colorado, so they'll be on the same mountain as us. So, and then Trevor and Steve, they'll fly in as well, like the 4th or 5th or something like that. So It's going to be Colorado's just going to be a surround and drown technique.
Boy. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. So we'll have all those guys, which will be fun to kind of bounce off of and get to see them again. Haven't seen them in quite a while.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, and then from there, Cody has a tag in New Mexico. So
no way.
He does, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's supposed to be the worst unit in New Mexico, from what we've heard. So that's awesome.
Well, that'll be good, though. I mean, honestly, I'd love to see what you guys do with it.
That's we're taking it as a challenge because we don't really have a choice right now.
Right.
So we'll head to New Mexico, and we'll hunt New Mexico for however long it takes, up to 10 days. So I think the season goes from the 12th to the 24th, I believe, something like that. So we'll see what happens there, and hopefully we can stumble on something there, and then from there I'll be headed from New Mexico clear down there to I'll be going up to Montana. So I do have the only thing I drew this year is a general season Montana elk tag. So I will be headed up there. I don't know if I'll even hunt it. Cody also has a tag, and Dirk Durham has a tag, guy that you did the podcast with last week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a good time.
It'll be a good time. So everybody loves it somehow when me and Dirk get together. So so anyway, I'll head up to Montana and then help them out and finish that up. I'm hoping to make it home by October 5th or so, somewhere in there. Yeah, somewhere in there. So yeah, big. It's going to be a long month and a big season, but super, super excited about it, and just something a little different. So we're going to kind of split up, but then we'll come back together. Last year it was really special when Steve drew that Arizona tag last year. That just all of us, we don't get to do it very often, believe it or not. Is all the me and Steve and Trevor and Cody hunting together, all as a group. And man, we just had a ball when we did it last year. So we're trying to make this every year moving forward. We're trying to make it a point to at least have one hunt that we're all together on, for 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's important. You guys have been hunting together a long, long time.
Yeah, I would agree with you too. It is important. It really is important. So that's our plans for this year, and obviously things are open to change, which is normal.
Sure.
But that's it'll be pretty much what we do this year.
Cool. Yeah. So you got to burn those Oregon points one of these days, so you can go hunting with us over there.
I tried to.
I know.
It was weird. I ran into a guy at the store today. I had to run down to the store, and I ran into a guy big fan of ours, which was really cool just to meet a person. And he said he applied for Mount Emily this year as well. And he had 18 points and didn't draw. Yeah. So.
Well, it's good to hear. Well, I won't. Yeah, I didn't know if you applied for Emily or Winnaha.
I did.
But yeah.
I did.
Oh, I'd be Emily all day long over Winnaha.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been reaching as well. So, and I have no problem saying it. That's just, I'll only get it once. So, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, but his buddy, actually, he said his buddy drew it. So there is hope for next year.
Yeah. Hopefully, you do that, boy. I know about Emily. I lived up in that area, and we used to go in there and look around. Yeah, look around a lot, and I knew I'd never draw a tag in there, but
I will be picking your brain then, hopefully.
Yeah, it'll take about 5 minutes.
it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, cool. So, well, that sounds good. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you guys are all over again. I know you probably are like, yeah, I'm all over again, but we'll be sitting here patiently watching. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. No, I just hope we can find some elk in some different areas.
You will.
I just hope so.
Yeah.
And even if we don't, I think some of our most, and I won't say successful as far as views and everything, because everybody likes seeing an elk and archery hunting and stuff like that. But some of my most memorable times as far as getting the emails and the feedback from people is when we're not successful.
Yeah.
And at first you can take that a couple ways. You can be like, what the hell, man? Come on. But it's relatable to everybody, man. How many times have we been out there and worked our butts off and covered mile after mile and not heard a bugle, all day long? We've done it how many times? Numerous times. So that's really cool for hunters to actually grasp, I think, that, and to understand it's just not every day you go out and there's just a giant 6-point bull standing in front of you. It's just not real.
Yeah, so. Right. And I think that's the biggest thing that I know that's the biggest thing I tune into the Born and Raised YouTube channels is I want to see real stuff. And I like seeing some of the other stuff too. You see some of the other guys that are running around and they're paying for ranches and things like that, which is kind of cool because you see some elk that act just like elk did in 200 years ago. They don't worry about anything other than but and it's fun to watch that too. But at the same time, if I'm getting ready and psyched up, I don't want to give myself goofy expectations by watching that stuff before the season, and then 4 days into it, you're getting really bummed out because you're like, hey, that's not the way that I used to watch that.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's once you've done it enough, like you have, you realize what's real and what's not.
Yeah, getting other people into it is probably the funnest. I think that's watching somebody do something for the first time, and you guys get to hear about it all the time. Is huge. I told Dirk this too, and I'm going to tell you. There's a person that's attached to our family through, because my oldest son Aaron, you remember Aaron? He's a stepson, and his his other brothers watch your guys' content and watch your stuff, and so they've always been rifle hunters. But was it last year or the year before? It was either one or the other. I think it was last year. They were like, we're going all in. We're going to go up there. We're going to camp. We're going to do this, and we're going to go bow hunting for elk. And
Sweet.
Little suckers, if they didn't go up there, and this is Cascades, and they had it all figured out, and they did all the stuff and learned how to bugle, did all that, and ended up calling in a bull like opening day, and it was like a 306 point. It was, and they went up there, and so that's what. And they listened to both you got, they listened to the Born and Raised crew, they listened to Dirk, and it's just cool to see how that's being passed on. We talk about digital age and this and that, but the reality is they probably would have never even caught that bug unless that was out there, and I think that's just the coolest thing ever.
It is cool. It should never be that easy, but it is cool.
I know. I told them they were ruined.
Oh, I know. I get emails all the time. Man, you guys, it's so easy. I did it for the first time this year. I just went out and just shot this. And I'll have a picture of some giant, at the bottom of the tree. I'm like, okay, what? Yeah, if we did.
Yeah.
I'm glad we helped you, but good night.
Yeah,
okay,
you don't understand yet.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
At least to us, yeah. So that's awesome. That's all. It is cool. Like I think there's so many negatives about social media and stuff like that. I really do think that. But man, can you imagine the learning curve that it's cut down for so many people that just say, okay, well, how do I do this? And all it is at your fingertips 24/7 about the people that have done it and the people that have experienced this, that, and the other. And then, which is, it is pretty neat. I mean, yeah, it does put more people out in the woods. And so, I mean, we get that same feedback at times of people. Oh man, you're putting everybody out in the woods. Well, that's good. I think that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. There's a lot of woods.
There's a lot of woods, and you know what? Become a better hunter or something. You know what I mean? I've been.
Yep.
It's not like we haven't been screwed by two different guys coming in on the same bugle. It happens all the time, but it's how you approach it after that.
Right.
It's pretty cool if you see someone out there trying to do the same thing that you're doing. It's pretty admirable to me. You can't be upset about it. So yeah, and without the digital, era, like you say, a lot of people, it's a barrier. And that's the biggest thing for us, is just trying to get people to break down barriers that they think they can't do. Well, I don't have that $600 pack, so I cannot go backpacking. Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can day hunt from the pickup, or you can, you don't have to have the best of the best. And obviously, it sounds like a bunch of hooey coming from me who has the best of the best. So, but at the same time, if there's anything I can say about it, as far as, man, just break down those tiny barriers that's holding you back. And sometimes it's just yourself holding you back.
Yeah, I got extra backpacks people could borrow. I mean, that's just the way it is. I got extra bows, and guys that, trying to get young, and we need to get the younger guys in. We need, or even older guys that want to do it that haven't done it before, because that's what's going to protect these elk, and that's also what's going to protect our tradition too. So
100%. Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, I'm going to transition on something completely different than elk, because I asked Dirk the same question, and I don't know if you listened to our podcast. Hopefully you didn't, because this will take you totally by surprise if you didn't.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so because of it wasn't Land of the Free last year, because of what you and Dirk did with dressing up as wrestlers, right?
Oh boy.
Did you know this was coming?
No, I didn't. This is going to be great. This will be great.
Okay, you guys got to watch it. If you guys haven't watched it, you guys just put out the video again and it was actually funny. I thought it was really funny watching you watch it. But
it's just bad.
No, it's awesome. It's good. It's really good. Oh, but so what I asked Dirk, and I'm going to ask you the same thing, is who would win in a wrestling match, you or Dirk?
Oh, I try not to lose at anything, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say on that one.
Well, if you didn't hear the podcast, I'll tell you what Dirk said. Dirk says, "Have you ever hugged that man?" He said he's a grizzly bear.
Oh, gosh.
I don't even want to try it, he said.
No, he's funny. Yeah. There would be, let's just say, if we were on a landing and we went at it, there would be a lot of dust. That's all I know.
There would be a lot of dust. None of you'd want to give up. That's the thing that I can tell you would happen.
No.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
And then the other thing that Dirk made me ask him, because I forgot to ask him, was, and I'm going to ask you the same thing, is when are you switching to a trad bow?
I do. I have one. I have one. Cody actually, he South Cox, stalker stick bows. I'm sure. Yep. He made me a bow. This has been years ago. It's a beautiful piece of art. It's got a bird's eye myrtle in it and maple as well. Oh man, you hate to even bring it out. But at some point I need to start. It's a weird learning curve for me. It's very, very weird, because it's like, I practice with my compound. I do a lot of that and everything, but a trad bow is a different story. I'm good out to, I was shooting really, really well out to, this is going to sound stupid to a lot of the people listening, but 15 yards.
Not
I was
really.
Shooting, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could hit, about a tennis ball or so.
Right.
But when I hit like 20, 22 yards, that tennis ball would turn into a giant watermelon, let alone the side of an elk.
Right, right.
So it was just weird how it is such a, and I don't know if it's me focusing. I don't, I need a little bit more supervision possibly in that realm of stuff. Cody, he's lights out. He's a great recurve shot. He's really good. It's just, man, and I never felt comfortable enough to where I'm a very ethical, like, if I don't feel like I can make a clean kill, I will not do it. And I just have never felt like I'm in that comfort zone for being able to pull that off yet. But man, it would be a feat for me. It would be something else. And my hat goes off to anybody that takes the time to do that, because I know I have not been able to accomplish
right.
being accurate with that. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I know Dirk. He's actually played around with it as well, a little bit in the past too, and I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll do a hunt. I think the Roosevelt side of things would be easier. I think a little bit, entry level kind of thing as far as that goes.
Or turkeys.
There you go. Yeah. Turkeys and ground blinds or something of that nature. But yeah, something. And that's a great idea as far as that goes. But I just haven't yet. So I would say it's a matter of time. I don't have it on my bucket list yet, and actually I need to make a bucket list because I don't have one of those either. So
you're living it, right?
I'm living it. Yeah.
Raising a family. The kids are involved.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's my bucket list.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Well, or a moose, and a moose maybe. You can put a moose in there.
That would be on there. It would be somewhere on there. It would be my dad, actually. It would be going with my dad and him getting a moose. He's always wanted to do that, and that's one of my goals. One of these days is to be able to actually take him on a moose hunt. And I just want to go. Yeah. I don't need to shoot one, but
I can see your dad killing a moose.
I could totally see that.
Yeah,
totally.
Out in a raft and then rafting it down the river. Yeah, I can see that.
It's been talked about. That is that kind of. It's definitely been mulled over a couple times. That's for sure. But man, they don't give that hunt away.
No. And in order to do it, you could do it if you get a resident up there that but you got to trust somebody, man. Because
everybody. Oh man, and people come out of the woodwork as far as, hey, I want to do this. You never know who to trust. You know what I mean.
Right.
You know what I mean.
Right.
So, yeah, but.
Well, cool.
But it'll happen.
Well, I've kept you on here so long. I probably should let you get going. The problem is I could sit here and talk all night. Especially catching up. We haven't been able to catch up here lately. It's just with everything going on, it's kind of messed us up. But
we never did our fly trip, fly fishing trip.
No.
We never,
didn't shoot any carp.
We never,
Yeah, and I didn't come over and catch any crabs, which I need to do one of these days. That's something I got to do.
Oh yeah. Well, let's. We're definitely this year. I will say, put it out there to you and your listeners as well. As far as we're going to be doing a lot of waterfowl stuff this year.
Right on.
You are the king at that. So we will definitely be headed to your neck of the woods to do some collaborative waterfowl stuff. If that's cool with you.
Oh yeah, no, any day. Cody found a spot, and I think Cody probably saw that spot, and he's probably aching to get back too. So it's a lot of fun. If we could get a whole group of guys out there, it'd be a kick.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We're actually going to be doing. I'll be in more contact with you about this, and I don't know if it's a podcast topic or not, but there is a Veterans Weekend. Actually, I don't know if you've heard anything about this.
Yes, saw it. Okay. Yeah, saw it this year. Yep.
Cool. So I'm definitely going to be active in that and everything.
Right
and
on.
then, might ask for some help or something like that.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to let you get going. I know you're probably spending some time with the family and getting ready to go elk hunting, so I don't want to keep you away.
I appreciate that, man. I really, really do appreciate the time that we got to talk, and let's definitely stay in touch, brother.
Right on. Tell Wyatt hi for me too, would you?
I will. He's out raising heck. He's out, I don't know what.
Oh, them boys.
Yeah, him and Grandpa were going. I think they're going crabbing this morning.
Oh, right on.
Crab. Yeah, I think so.
On.
So they're actually doing good on crab right now. So they're trying to get as many of those as they can.
Put them in the freezer.
Hey, as long as they share with me, I'm okay with it.
There you go. Well, he's got to, right? Dad tax.
100%. Yeah, that's what we have kids for: mowing the lawn and bringing home crap.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a bunch, Trent. I'm going to get off of here and let you get going. So I sure appreciate it, and good luck for you guys. I'll be praying for you guys all season long, and I know you guys are just going to go out there and you're going to put down some amazing stuff that we want to watch.
I hope so. I hope so. And thank you so much, man, and everybody listening too. Good luck this year. Like Nate was saying, it's a crazy year. It has been a crazy year. So just be safe out there, and have the time of your life.
Yep, we need this.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
All right, we do. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on another edition of Barbow Hunters Podcast. Hey, if you like what you heard, please give us a rating down below. We like the 5 stars. And follow us also on Instagram under Barbow Hunters. Go to our YouTube account, Barbow Hunter at YouTube, under the Life Outdoors heading. So that's Barbow Hunters YouTube under the Life Outdoors. Also, go in, join Barbow Hunter group on Facebook. Thanks again for listening.